All right. I guess we begin. I guess we begin.
Yep, seems like it. Another episode.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Um,
Feels like just yesterday we did the first one.
it's a little bit longer than that, but sure.
Yeah, listen, a little bit.
Only 2 weeks. Which, like, judging by YouTube, it's actually done reasonably well on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm glad people are liking it. A couple people have told me that they really enjoy it.
Yeah, I had a few people who were like, "Oh yeah, went back through the VOD." I'm like, I'm putting it on YouTube in a couple of days. You don't
And you're
need to
like,
spam my
oh.
Twitch. Um, but yeah, episode 2. Gonna have some more
Yes.
fun.
Question is, what do we start with?
That is a glorious question. um, I mean, I feel like this is more relevant than everything else, just because of the fact I've witnessed a bit of it recently.
hmm
Hate raids and the whole day of Twitch. Go
What a great
straight
way
in the
to
deep
start.
end. Straight in the deep end.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
I am amazed Twitch has done barely anything.
I'm honestly very shocked because how long has it been an issue now?
Too long.
Yeah, too long is a good answer.
Like, genuinely too long.
Like,
Um,
the amount of people that I've heard that are scared to stream just because of the hate
Oh
rates
yeah,
going on
and
is
like there's a few
insane.
people that are like, no, I'm not streaming until they're done, or a few people have like just said, I'm only going to stick to doing YouTube, or I'm going to stream on YouTube instead because you can't really hate rate over there.
Mm.
Which I mean, there's so many easy fixes Twitch can do to like nullify the hate raids, but are just not doing it.
Yeah, it's actually insane how many like
It's not like
people
it's
are being
some
affected
super
by it.
complex issue to fix.
Yeah,
Like, something
exactly.
simply is limit the amount of accounts you can make on a single email address, or add two-step authorization
Wait, so
authentication.
you can make another Twitch account on the same email?
You can make unlimited.
What? That's so stupid. What do you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Every other website's like, oh, if this email is already being used, you can't
Or it
use it
might
again.
be like you can have a couple or whatever. And like people said, if you make it like say cap at 3, because admittedly some people have like say, I have my actual one and then I made a bot Twitch account and I've
Yeah,
linked to the same
that's
email.
fair.
So like cap it at 3.
Yeah, like do a
Um,
minimum because like then people are just going to abuse it.
or even just add the two-step authentication.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
gets rid of so many bots straight
Like the
away.
first one, you don't have to two-factor authentication, but then if you make more than one, you have to two-factor it.
Or even
I think that'd be a really good
yeah,
idea.
or even just do it in general, which like yeah. Um, Although, like, yeah, a lot of people have been like, I'm not going to stream anymore. And I've left streaming because the really sad thing is they're doing it at targeted content creators, such as anyone in the LGBT, I don't know the rest of the anagram,
Yeah, I get you.
that community. I don't know the rest of
hmm
it. Um, and then like people like with mental illness tags and stuff, like they go off the tags. And
That's
like
terrible.
in Jamie's subathon the other day, I was playing Phasmo with him at the time, and I had his stream up on the second monitor. He got, oh no, so the night before he got a hate raid that was because he has the depression tag as one of his tags. They
Mm.
went and the hate raid was along the lines of this won't cure your depression, blah blah blah, like stuff along those lines, which literally 5 seconds later, it had been sorted out. Like the chat was in like follow only or sub only mode,
Yeah.
and they just completely stopped. And Jamie didn't give zero shits. So they then waited, and as soon as he went to sleep, they started again.
Really, they just sat there
as
and
soon
waited.
as soon as he got up to do like a couple of things before he actually goes and sleeps, As soon as he left the room, bang. It's like,
Are they
why?
stupid? Do they think that like chat isn't moderated and they're just gonna get like
It's because he
struck
didn't give
down
them a
again?
reaction. But then, like,
You're
another
not gonna
hate
get a
raid he
reaction
got.
if he's not
Another
there.
hate raid he got when I was playing Phasma is he just straight up got doxxed. And it's like, why?
That's not cool. Like I don't think any type of hate rating is cool, but that's especially harmful.
And it's like,
The fact they go after his address and shit, it's like,
yeah. And
why?
it's like, yeah. And like, sadly, that's actually one of the nicer stories from people that have been on the receiving end of a hate raid.
Oh,
Like, there
I
are
feel
some
so
people that are
bad for
basically
streamers
like,
right now.
yeah, like when you've got like any sort of like mental illness tag, whether it's anxiety, depression, whatever along those lines. And like some of the hate raids would be like 100 people straight away. That's just basically saying kill yourself or something like that.
It can be that big of a raid.
Yeah, like some people go ballistic, like that many bot accounts and everything. There is some, like, if you look on Twitter and stuff, there are some really, really messed up stories.
Imagine getting excited because you got like your first 100-person raid, and it's from people just trying to spread hate. Like, find something else to do with your time. Like, read a book. Like, what? Why are people wasting their times doing such unproductive shit like
A lot
this?
of the raids, though, are like one-man raids.
Mm.
But it's the same message as being spammed. But, and then like the whole day off Twitch.
The day
Trying
of
to,
Twitch.
trying to raise awareness. Which is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because, like, I understand the motive about, like, if everyone takes a day off Twitch, it'll really raise awareness to them about everything going on. But on the same note, Twitch is more than likely well aware.
Yeah, no.
It's
If they're
not
not
like the
aware, they're
community's been
oblivious.
it's not like the community's been vocal or anything.
The one thing I do not approve of, well, what I will say about it, right? Like, oh, if you guys are gonna try and like spread awareness and take a day off Twitch, like, cool, you can do that. But I heard that some people who were streaming on that day actually were getting abused for streaming on that
Yeah,
day.
some people were getting abused for streaming on that day.
And that is not okay.
No.
Like, that's like trying
that
to
makes
just
the problem worse.
Yeah, exactly. You're no better than the other people that are sending hate raids themselves. Like, if they don't want to do it, they don't have to.
No.
And it's not like you're like the day off is actually going to fix everything and suddenly this hate raids are going to stop. It's something towards it.
I know a lot of streamers, which I think was actually a good way to go with it. They understand the whole, like, idea behind a day off Twitch. But they said, still going to go live anyway and raise awareness on stream. And what a lot of people did with that, they would turn off all alerts that were anything to do with basically Twitch getting money. So subs, bits, etc. All turned off. Only like donations and any other like other links of like support links. They were the only alerts staying.
That's really smart.
So like it's going live to raise awareness of everything going on, but at the same time not acknowledging any sort of financial gain of theirs that Twitch benefit from.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think this whole thing, like, about hate raids, it is terrible. And I feel so bad for the people who have had to experience it. Especially if you get your address doxed like Jamie did. That's terrible.
Not that
I really hope they
he
fix
couldn't
it.
care less. But at the same time,
it's at the same time though, like some other people, if they live in like a small rural area, and like their address gets doxed, what if someone from that area sees that and goes, "Oh my god, like I know where this person lives," and they go actually harass them? Like I've heard stories.
People are just really messed up like that, and
yeah.
Like he just took on the chin. He's like, yeah, whatever. Like, grow up.
I'm glad that he took it so well.
But there are so many people that I know have been really like, especially given the last 18 months and what the world's gone through, and the fact that, let's be honest, everyone's mental health's in the gutter. Let's be honest with everything going on, and then just to have people like, if someone has been getting really dark thoughts, especially with all this stuff going on, like whether it's they've lost so much money, not being able to work or whatever, and then Twitch has sort of been like an outlet for them to actually like distract themselves from everything, and then they just get spammed with kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself. It's like, what scumbag does that?
Exactly. And you bring up a good point, especially during the last like year and a bit that we've had to endure a literal worldwide pandemic.
Yeah,
And people are still like, let's be trolls because they apparently get a joy from that. I will honestly never understand how you get
like
joy from doing that to
it's
people.
because they think it's a good troll. Which I understand getting enjoyment out of a good troll, but that is not a good troll at all.
That is not a good troll.
Which, the reason I think Twitch is more than aware of like the backlash with hate raids and a day off Twitch is the start date of Subtember.
Mm-hmm.
So the day of Twitch was the 1st of September. Twitch announced for Subtember, which they do each year, admittedly, like they've done it the last, 5 years? Something like that. Where they do something to do with the sub prices. They made that start on the 2nd of September and not the 1st. Because
Wow.
people were going to be sitting off the platform. So in their eyes, they weren't going to get as much money.
That's so bad.
Yeah. Like, that's not good.
No.
That's not
like,
good.
have they made any public statement about it?
Not directly. They said like a while ago that they're like updating things and need to be held accountable, blah 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 blah, and people are trying to do that, and they haven't said a whole lot about it.
Of course.
Which,
Oh
yeah, September. What are your thoughts?
yeah, we can branch into this topic.
Yeah.
Okay. I personally feel like Subtember, it used to be so much better.
Yeah.
Like that one year, me and you we experienced Subtember, and they literally gave away $1 resubs.
Yeah.
And it's not like Twitch is a small company, right? I think for 1 month they could afford to do freaking dollar resubs.
Here's the interesting thing with Twitch. Unless things have changed recently, Twitch, the whole time it's been a thing, has actually been losing money. It's just they're owned by Amazon, who make a bucket load.
Mm-hmm. Literally, Amazon is such a wealthy company.
Although, from talking to a few people, as far as I'm aware, it's more of a case like Amazon owns Twitch, sure, but Twitch are very much separate from Amazon. Like, they're not.
Right. It still gets so much money, this website.
Oh, yeah.
Even on its own. Like, the amount of people that are streaming on this website and they get money for people streaming on their website. It's like, it's insane.
For context as well, the Subtember benefit for this year is that
oh yeah,
gifted subs and renewing a subscription to a stream that you basically didn't cancel the subscription in September, so that you can I'm going to cancel it just so I can get this month cheaper. So it's like resubscribing to someone you're not subscribed to, continuing a gift sub, and I think there might be one other one.
Is it fresh subs as well?
Fresh subs, yeah.
Yeah.
They're all 20% off.
So for us, that's $6.30 for a sub.
Yeah, I think $6.39 instead of $7.50.
Oh, by the way, another good thing we can talk about along with this is the fact that they lowered how much Aussie subs cost now.
Yeah.
They lowered it from $9 to $8 permanently, apparently.
Yeah. $8.50 for $7.50 for Aussies instead of $8.50. But yeah. If I go to USD to AUD, what is it? $4.99 USD for a subscription.
Mm-hmm.
That's $6.71 Australian. So we still pay $1 more.
Yeah. It's better than nothing, though.
We actually, it's just ever so slightly cheaper. What's that, about 30 cents cheaper in Subtember for a subscription than it is normally for US. So Aussies have it 30 cents cheaper in Subtember, which is meant to be 20% off, than the US do normally.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible.
But I mean, like, the other thing with Twitch, of the like streaming platforms, which is mainly now just Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, Twitch they take the most from earnings. So like as
when you're affiliate though, right? They take the most because I've heard partners get a bit better.
It's a bit different for partners, but as a general rule for affiliates, it's pretty much 50-50.
Okay.
With YouTube, I'm pretty sure it's about 70-30.
Oh wow.
And
so wait, the YouTube is the 70, right? Or
yeah.
Okay, that's a lot better actually. But all right.
Facebook is an interesting one. As far as I'm aware, the streamer takes all the revenue. I think until like 2023 or whatever, the streamer takes all the revenue.
Oh wow.
I believe YouTube 60-40. There we go. Still a bit better than Twitch. On Facebook, I believe, the streamer takes all the revenue, which they're doing that, I think, until 2023 to try and grow the platform and get people on there. But there still is a bit-like system on YouTube. On Facebook, where, like, for us, well, as a general rule, when you buy bits on Twitch, for every 100 bits, because 1 bit's 1 US cent.
Yeah.
For every 100 bits you buy, so 1 USD, you're paying 2. So that's how Twitch gets money from bits. Even though bits themselves, like if you give a streamer 1,000 bits, that streamer straight up gets the 10 USD. But you're probably going to be spending about 20 USD buying it. So that's where Twitch makes the money for it. Facebook does have that. So they do take that cut if you try to help content creators over there that way. But as far as like whatever their sub equivalent is, then the streamer actually gets the full cut. Until I think it's 2023, they said is when they're going to like start taking cuts from that as well. They're just doing it now to sort of grow. But yeah, so Twitch takes the biggest cut from streamers.
Yeah, that's insane.
As a general rule, it's 50-50 for affiliates. And then it was Harris Heller. Do you know Harris Heller?
I think I've heard of them, yeah.
Does a lot of YouTube videos regarding like how to like reviewing streaming equipment, like guides on what to do with streaming, blah blah blah, like someone to help out with streams. He used to be a Twitch partner, moved over to YouTube. And as a result, he's no longer partnered on Twitch. And he is no longer under his contracts, like, with Twitch. And he was saying the way partners work, Tier 1 is 50-50. Tier 2 is 60-40. Tier 3 is 70-30.
Oh, and so it changes depending on tiers. That's interesting.
Yeah, and then if you get enough subs each month, you can, like, negotiate with Twitch to get like everything like 70-30, but then you're under a contract that you can't reveal that to anyone.
Huh? Oh, okay.
So yeah, pretty much, unless you're one of those high-end content creators that negotiates that better deal, Twitch is taking either the bigger cut than everything else or equal to YouTube for tier 2, and tier 3 you get more than what YouTube cut gives you, but then that's 45
that's
Australian.
Tier 3.
30 USD for tier 3?
It's something like that. I think it's a bit over 30, but
so I think what's that? You get about 21 of the 30.
That's pretty good if they tier 3 sub, but a lot of people don't get tier 3 subs because it's very expensive.
I think in 3 and a bit years of streaming, I've had 3 people as a tier. Actually, I lie, 4 because there was a. No, I lie again, 5. 2 absolute maniacs. No, 2 maniacs gifted a tier 3 sub. But as far as like people choosing, I'm going to be a tier 3 sub, only 3 people have done that, and only one's active at the moment. And I think I've had like maybe a handful of tier 2s, and the rest have been tier 1, because that's like definitely at an affiliate level, there is not a whole lot of point aside from wanting to support the stream a bit more to go tier 2 or tier 3. The only incentive is an extra remote.
Well, to be fair, Twitch did improve on that.
For partners.
Was it for partners?
It's
yeah,
partners, yeah.
streamers.
So yeah, with partners, there's a bit more incentive because instead of 1 emote for those for tier 2 and tier 3, you get 5.
Yeah,
so there's
which
more
I think
incentive
it should
there.
have been like that from the go.
But affiliate is so like for affiliates, it's 5 max of 5 for tier 1. You get a 6 if you're tier 2, and you get a 7th if you're tier 3. Which
And
tier
there's
2
also like
isn't
bit
so,
emotes too.
yeah. Tier 2 isn't so bad because you're paying double, but you're only getting 1 more emote. Which back when affiliates only had 1 emote at each level, that kind of made sense because you're paying $5 for 1 emote, or you're paying $10 for 2.
Yeah.
But now that's lost its value, and then you're paying like triple tier 2
I
to get an
think
extra
they
emote.
should. I think they should make it 2 emotes for affiliates because I know you still have to make it an exclusivity thing because I know that a lot of partners are very upset with how much they're
It's mainly
giving
the
to
people
affiliates.
that got partnered just before they changed this.
Yeah. Which I can understand having to like grind for partner and then it being all like, oh my god, like you've gotten partner and you've got so much stuff now. But they've got to appeal to the fact that literally majority of the people on their platform are affiliate. Partners are like
I think Jamie, because Jamie got partnered the other day, and he was saying,
him.
yeah, absolutely. But he was saying something like, I think there's 3 million streamers or whatever on Twitch, less than 40,000 are partnered.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are so many affiliates on this website, and if they don't at least adapt and appeal to some of the wants of affiliate because it's not perfect, then they're going to lose a lot of people streaming because they're not going to want to.
But like YouTube, if they really wanted to, could kill Twitch quite quickly.
Yeah, maybe.
YouTube, if they improve their stream side of things, like their streaming, like as far as streaming side of things, Twitch has Facebook and YouTube covered. But YouTube has their whole video setup, which really is phenomenal. If YouTube focus more on improving their streaming side of things, they could quite easily crush Twitch. I mean, was it this week? Tim the Tapman and Dr. Lupo, 2 of the like absolute titans of Twitch, they've moved to YouTube. They want to deal with YouTube, and that's 2 of your biggest streamers that you've just let walk.
Not to mention they let freaking Dr. Disrespect. They banned him.
Yeah, that's why. That's
platform.
Part of the reason they moved over. So they
yeah,
can play
and then
with him.
not only that, they're now getting sued by him too.
Yeah, which I don't know enough about that to really make any judgment.
Yeah, I know is that apparently the reason that
he hasn't announced why, but because he's suing them because sounds like a very pathetic reason they've banned him, or they haven't banned him in a just manner. And he hasn't announced why he was like what Twitch said to him because it's a court case. There's all the fun legal stuff, which he's not allowed to say that, which is completely understandable.
Yeah, exactly.
But if he's willing to take them to court over it, it's probably not going to be the greatest. Like, regardless of who's in the right and wrong here, you wouldn't take them to court unless you were confident you'd win.
Yeah, exactly. Especially against a big company like that.
You would not take them on unless you were very confident. So that's like really all you can read into that. But like, it could be a perfectly justified reason and he's trying to make some publicity out of it. I don't know. Like, that's another alternative. I don't think that'll be it. It's a possibility. But given how confident he is with it, I wouldn't be surprised if it's pretty genuine.
Yeah. What I was going to say about the everyone jumping to YouTube and stuff, the one reason I could come up with that they might be hesitant to do that is because I feel like Twitch is more lenient on what people can say. Because
Yeah.
you know how it is with like the
Or
whole
ads on.
thing. Yeah, exactly. Like people will literally get their video demonetized if they swear or like say a certain word. Like apparently if they talk anything about the pandemic, like if they say like COVID or something like
Yeah.
that, they'll literally get like their video demonetized because they mentioned the word.
I think
It's
part of it is
insane.
because of how accessible it is, mainly to like kids. You get a lot of like kids watching videos they shouldn't, and so they're actually, instead of trying to fix the idea of limiting what kids can watch on YouTube, it's easy just to put a blanket on all these other things. Like, you need to be respectful in case a kid watches, otherwise you're not making any money.
Yeah, and it's like, didn't YouTube have a kids section of
They did.
YouTube at one point?
They did.
Like, why do they have to put a blanket over the other half of like YouTube for like older people?
Like, there's some videos I understand not getting monetized if they're really like full on.
Well,
Sure.
yeah, there should be a point where it's like an occasional swear word though shouldn't make a video demonetized.
Yeah.
Is more what I'm trying to say.
Well, I mean, I know when I upload a video, and definitely going to be when I upload this, when the upload the podcast on YouTube. One of the things you tick is this video safe for kids or viewers under the age of 18? Which I tick no most of the time because like DVD is definitely not the nicest game going around. Let's be honest.
No.
Um, but the main reason for that isn't so much to limit them watching; it's because of the targeted ads.
But yeah, I definitely think if YouTube was gonna make a power play like that and try to take the live streaming audience, they'd have to figure out that whole thing about them trying to censor people and like basically making it so you
They're
literally can't like talk about anything on Twitch.
if
I mean,
they
YouTube.
wanted to completely obliterate Twitch in a matter of probably a year or two, they need to do three things: fix a lot of that ad stuff with the revenue, because the thing that works so well with YouTube streaming is the fact it's so easy to like have your discoverability with your videos right there on that platform. So it's like the videos here, you like this guy's content, well, he streams on this channel at whatever time. So instead of it like YouTube and Twitch, even though a lot of Twitch streamers, myself included, do have the YouTube account and the Twitch streams, it's going between two different sites, two different accounts, blah, blah, blah. Whereas if it's all together in the one spot, it's just easier access. It's just their streaming stuff isn't up to Twitch's standard by a mile. So they need to fix the ad stuff as well with the revenue, because no one's going to be wanting to commit to that completely if then it's going to be really blurry with their ads, like how much revenue they make.
Yeah.
Just fine tune their streaming side of things to make it a bit smoother and like up to Twitch standards. And then just grab a couple of more big content creators, invest the money into them, because like Tim the Tapman and Lupo would not have been like the contract they would be both under to move to YouTube would be a lot
Would
of
not
money.
have been cheap.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of money.
Would not have been cheap at all.
Invest money in getting a few other big streamers over, and you honestly would be killing Twitch a bit. Like, having Tim the Tapman and Lupo alone is huge.
Yeah, exactly.
But then the other edge of the sword to big streamers leaving Twitch and moving to YouTube or Facebook or wherever is, does that mean that's however many thousand viewers that are now looking for new streams to hang out in? So does that mean that there's a better chance for people already on the platform to get new viewers?
I think personally that'd be like a yes/no situation.
It'd be very dependent.
Yeah, exactly. Some people, if they didn't watch only solely that person on Twitch, they might, look for other content creators while they're watching other content creators that they like.
Yep.
But the other hand, it'd be like, what if they were only watching Twitch for that? So if they were only watching for them, they'll just jump over to YouTube and they won't come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's one viewer that's just gone from Twitch.
And I mean, I do my fair share of both. Like, I watch a fair few streams and I watch a fair bit of YouTube.
Me too.
it is pretty easy just to have it all together, make it all accessible.
Exactly.
And you just like it's also like where Mixer sort of died as well, and a lot of people left that platform and had to find a new home. I don't think Twitch will get
Yeah.
in that situation where they'd have to like leave, like you have no more Twitch streams, but they need to be careful because Twitch is very like out of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, they have the least discoverability by a mile.
Mm.
It is very hard to find new people, and I can almost guarantee that 99% of my own community is either people finding me through game, like DBD, where like my name is literally t.tv/ the toxic penguin,
Yeah.
or people from raids. Very, very rarely would I have someone come and said, "Oh yeah, I saw you in my recommended, thought I'd say hi." Very rarely.
Keep in mind though, that's how I found a lot of the streamers I watch.
True.
When I first got on Twitch, like,
But I mean, it's one of those things, there's a lot of like people in your recommended, like usually sitting at what about 7 to 10 streamers thereabouts.
mm-hmm.
How many times do you see people in your recommended and just go, no, I'm not going to watch them. I'm going to watch this person or that person that I already follow and watch.
I mean, you can already say yourself that the recommended
The
is
recommended,
very flawed.
like, there's a video, I don't know if I've still got it. In Twitch's recommended was a stream I was banned in.
It did that to me as well.
And I took the video, I'm like, oh, look at Bob's stream here, let's go say hi. Oh, look, I'm banned in it. Good job.
Like, I remember when I don't know why Twitch does this, but I literally have some streams in my recommended that I've literally followed and unfollowed.
Yeah,
like I've already like followed them for the duration I
admittedly,
wanted to.
I feel
And
like
it's
it
like,
could almost
yeah.
this is a stretch, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is the case. But if it was, it wouldn't surprise me. Because you know how Twitch likes to randomly unfollow people.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if they put you like have that stream in the recommended because like you've spent a lot of time here. You're no longer following them. It could have been us accidentally unfollowing you. Like I think Devi raided me the other day, who I've known for years, and he's like, yeah, Twitch has unfollowed me at some stage because I know I followed you years ago.
Mm. I don't know why Twitch does that.
So like stuff like that, like sure. Or like some
But
people
doing it more than once is a bit tedious.
or like maybe for a couple of days and then it clearly you're like, okay, they don't want to see them, let's find someone else. I find there's some streams that I've opened a couple of times because say they're like really sweaty DVD killers that I just do not want to deal with because I actually want to try and have fun.
Yeah.
And I've opened their stream like twice to make sure they weren't my killer. They'll be my recommended for the next month. And it's like, I couldn't care less. Or someone that you've been raided into that then never leaves your recommendation. Like your recommended.
I hate that. It's like you don't realize they're rating someone that you're like, oh, I don't really want to go into this person's chat, and then you don't realize they're rating them, and then you just see a tab. It's like, oh yeah, this person is in your tabs. I'm like, what the hell?
Although I admit, some people that I watch, it's been like I might have been in someone's stream or whatever, or say raided someone at night, left the computer on overnight while I went to bed, and then like they've raided someone who's then raided this person, who's raided that person, and it'll be like a 5 raid train, and I'm with like someone brand new, and I'm like,
you'd be with someone from like Germany who speaks a complete different language, and you're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I know we don't want to talk about DVD each week.
True, but we do have a couple.
There was a
DVD
couple
topics.
of things in particular. One they announced within the last 24 hours, which I wanted to bring up, which is the fact we talked about last time about because I think MMR had just finished, I believe. I think
with its
just
PTV.
finished. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the they've been testing the live service for about 4 days, it had just finished and we're talking about it, and the fact that you had limited experiences with it. My experiences with it were terrible.
My boy's still terrible, just limited.
Yeah.
Limited bad.
On the update that comes out Tuesday or Wednesday morning for us Aussies, it's going to be permanently implemented.
No, I literally had to ask Penguin if he was kidding. Like when he told me this, I was just like, you have to be joking.
I want to get the... Where's Dead by Daylight on Twitter? Because I just want to read out what they posted in the developer update which announced it. And I want to read it word for word. Okay, for a while now, we've been running tests on the skill-based matchmaking, or SBMM system, which uses ratings to match you with other players rather than rank. Each killer you play as has a separate rating, allowing you to play each killer at a level you're comfortable at. Cool. The most recent test exceeded our expectations and we'll be rolling the system out indefinitely with the 5.2.0 update.
Where do we even start? I've seen people talk about this on Twitter, and like some people who are like, there's a few people who've been like, oh, everyone finds stuff to complain about on the DVD Twitter, which I can agree. Like a lot of people will
There's a
complain. It's just
lot more
how it
people complaining,
works.
but on the same note, who asked for it?
I don't know.
Like, people have said matchmaking needs improving. I'm not saying there isn't people that have said matchmaking needs improving, because at the moment it's terrible. But who asked for an MMR based system?
It's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but is the matchmaking system, it's supposed to make it so you verse more like
People
players
around
of
your skill
level or your skill.
Think of it like when you're playing ranked League or Overwatch or whatever, and say you're like let's say you're, I don't know, Diamond or whatever. Yeah. And you're getting people that are like Diamond, Gold, Plat.
I love how you left out Paladins when you left that example, because the matchmaking in that game is just a dumpster fire.
Also, the other games are like, more people play ranked on those games.
Yeah. But I see what you mean, but it's like DBD is a casual game.
Yeah.
It has no there's no competitiveness about it whatsoever. That's why there's no esports scene and stuff. It's because it's not that type of game.
No, it's them trying to put a competitive matchmaking into a casual game. And the thing that rubs the wrong way with, I think, even the people that are okay with the MMR being a thing, the thing that's annoying pretty much everyone is they won't, like, you don't want to say exactly how, like, what's measured, because you don't want to, because if you say exactly how to increase your skill level or whatever, people will exploit the crap out of it. So, like, they don't need to say exactly how. It's like in a lot of those games like League and Overwatch. If you lose as a team, sure, your rating might not go up, but it might not go down a whole lot. If you played really well, it's just your team really let you down. The thing is, they haven't even given the faintest idea on what they determine skill as. It's just they're like, we're going to judge your skill. And it's like, there's so many factors. Like, I think Scott Junn did a video talking about it. And he raised a good point. If you have, let's say, a nurse running recharge add-ons with extra range, and they're using like Ruin, Undying, Infectious, Sloppy, or something like that, like a really sweaty build, and they get a 4K. Did they show more skill than, say, a nurse with no perks and no add-ons that got a 3K? In the games, like, there's so many factors. Like, did that nurse that went in without any add-ons or perks, did they play worse than the one that went all sweaty, even though, like, it takes more skill to do that? But the thing that worries people is this sentence in the developer update. During peak hours, 99% of matches formed were what we consider reasonably balanced, with your odds of escaping or killing a survivor varying plus or minus 20%, 25% of the average. Better yet, 75% of the matches fell within a plus or minus 5% chance. That's telling everyone that the skill is purely going to be whether you survive or kill people.
So wait, I have a question. What is that? I have so many questions. My brain's just gone.
Yep.
So like, does that mean what does that mean for killer then? Does it mean you only get a plus like win rate per se if we're talking about it that way if you only kill everyone?
Or most
Or
people.
does
That's
it
what it looks like, and it looks like you
no.
need to survive to get your thing to improve, but here's the age-old example. Let's just say you're a Nia, because it's usually a Nia, that's gone and looped the killer for 5 gens, got face camp, died. But they've ensured everyone gets out.
Yep.
Did they play worse because they died than everyone else that all they had to do was sit on generators and didn't have to do anything?
Of course
or
not.
likewise, if you've got a blend out that's hiding in the corner all game that then takes hatch when everyone else dies, did they play better than everyone else?
That's what I hate. Like the whole like the rank in this game, I'm gonna say it with quotations, is already skewed enough as it is because anyone can get to those ranks. That's why for so long I felt like the ranking system didn't matter.
I would almost prefer no matchmaking than MMO.
I would as well. I honestly would just rather it you fucking put everyone in a bag and just shake it really hard and then just throw it. And everyone just gets thrown out into their own little games.
And it looks like the way it was when they did the test a couple of weeks ago is pretty much the same settings they're going to have when they permanently introduce it. A lot of the way they would sort of like balance out survivor games is like, I don't know what the whole like numerical values of like what your skill level is behind the scenes, but let's just say a killer goes in with a skill level of 1,000. And the way they sort of average it out, instead of trying to get, say, 4 survivors that have around like 1,000, like say between 800 and 1,200. So 200 either side of what the killer is. It would be like, say, 2 survivors that have like 2,000 as their level, and then like 2 survivors with like 500. That's how they'd sort of balance it out. So it still averages out at 1,000, but it's taking like 2 from one extreme, 2 from the other, bang.
Yeah. I just don't think DBD is the place for a rank system.
Also, this other sentence is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Additionally, while matches were fairer, matchmaking times remain the same. No, they did not.
No, I don't even play killer, and I know from people telling me that the queue times were worse for killer.
Yeah. Also, good point in chat. Simply put, a rank system or MMR system in general for an asymmetrical game just doesn't work at all. There are way too many variables to account for. That's just with asymmetrical games in general. Don't even incorporate the RNG of Dead by Daylight. There is so much RNG.
Yeah,
You see, like, competitive games struggle because you can get, like, in a competitive setting, you can have the, like, the perks that everyone uses the same, set the map the same, but you could get one setup that is completely survivor side with super safe pallets everywhere and really good tiles. And then the next game, where it's the other team's turn, they get like 4 pallets on the whole map. And just a lot of dead zones.
Not to mention, like, some of, like, the varying, like, map types is so bad for this game.
Like, even if you set it as the same map, there is so much RNG in which you can get, like, even something as simple as, what's an example? Let's use Ironworks of Misery, the double story, like the big building on the Macmillan maps that used to have that infamous God window.
Yeah.
You can have a God setup of that, which say like the window is facing the rest of the map. Or even like on that map as well, like where you got that little like pathway of sorts to Killer Shack, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, you can have like a really strong palette there on that loop you can get on that tile where pretty much the survivor can do whatever they want there. You can have that palette there with the shack window facing that direction. But then let's just say the next game, you get the shack window facing the other way, so you have just a wall that you can't go in or out of shack on that side, and no palette. There's just
It's
so
on
much RNG. It's like the same map, the same killer, the same perks, but the map design, the tiles completely different.
I just hate how you can some games, like literally some maps, you can literally tell how it's gonna go before, like just based on the map.
As well as the spawns.
Yeah, like if you get a map where there's just no pallets, like there's like a couple of loops and then there's just huge dead zones, you know you're gonna have a hard time
So
as a
I
survivor.
so I played I think last time I streamed DBD, I think we did two games on Cold Tower, one as killer, one as survivor. And of the actual like set um like jungle gym tiles, there's four that are set around the map. And is it four or five? Whatever it is, it's four or five. No, it's five. I got it. So you got the five different tiles of where these jungle gyms can spawn, whether it's like a short wall, long wall, TL wall, the single pallet, whatever. You get one of those on each of those tiles. I had one, my killer game, it was all pretty much the long walls, you know, where you got the window out of the loop on the side, where it's that super safe window.
Yeah, and then you got the
I had
pallet on
like,
the other side.
yeah, I had three of those like that. I had a TL wall, which is the double windows, and then the other one I think was just the single pallet. So three of those are super safe loops. Then I played that same map later on as killer. We had four were TL walls, so just the windows, and then the other one was just the single pallet. And it's like that alone
Oh my
is
god.
just such RNG. Like for my killer game, super good survivor setup. When I'm playing killer, when I'm playing survivor, amazing killer setup. Just using that as a example of the RNG.
Yeah.
But
Like
clearly, the devs of Dead by Daylight know more on what the community wants rather than the community.
I feel like they're just slowly just doing more of what they think is right rather than actually listening to what their community is saying.
Yeah,
Like, I saw even like I've seen some decisions where even their fog whisperers, the people that they're actually supposed to listen to, which was what I thought they were there for, to like tell them what they think and also what their community thinks of what they're gonna do. And it's like they don't even listen to them half the time.
no.
And it's like,
Well, I mean, when you've got
why?
like quite a few fog whisperers are pretty worried about the outcome in player numbers from having MMR in the game, that tells you a lot. The streamers and YouTubers and other content creators handpicked by behavior to um, show off the game and stay connected, blah, 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 when they're worried about the outcomes of what they're implementing and presumably didn't have any say in it whatsoever, that tells you a lot.
Yeah, pretty much. It really does.
Which, I don't know if you knew this, you know where people were modding in DBD? Like, I think adding
Yeah.
different cosmetics for Survivor, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's, I believe, now bannable. Or at least elements of it.
Yeah, because I mentioned it to you before when when it came out originally that people were using it to like make like
Bear
the
traps,
trappers
hot pink.
traps really
Yeah, so
bright
now they've
so
just
that
put
they
a
could see
blanket
it.
ban on the whole thing, so you can't even do it
Of
anymore.
course they would, because anything fun in the game just gets
It
like
gets
patched or
exploited. No, they were fine
yeah.
with it at first, but then people started exploiting it like that.
I feel like if they just
Which,
re-added the system of being able to edit stuff, but just removed certain things being able to be edited, like um
easier said than done.
traps, like and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like
But
they could have done it in another way,
speaking of,
not
like,
just removing
altering
it.
the game, what's your opinion on stretch res?
Stretch res. I was gonna talk to you about another topic to do with this as well as this, but I'll mention it in a bit later.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say about stretched res is honestly, I don't really know how I feel about it, right?
Okay.
Because it's like you can look at it from both sides of the fact that people think you're getting an advantage stretching your res. And then, like, on the other hand, I feel like it would just be really disorienting having your res, like, just out that far and, like, having to get used to playing like that, which you could
But
probably get
then
used to it.
people do get used to it. That's the thing. At first, it
Yeah.
might be a bit trippy, but they do get used to it.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never personally tried stretched res because I don't really agree with it. I think it is a bit of an it's a bit of a cheap way to like be able to, see over loops that you don't usually be able to see over, that kind of thing. I don't know. It feels
If
a bit cheap to me.
if anyone is saying to you that they only play with stretch res because they think the game looks better like that, they are
No.
absolutely full of shit.
Like,
Which
dude,
there are some streamers I know that play in stretch res that, like, I don't like to dodge too many people when I play killer. The person I'm thinking of in particular, I always dodge their swift because they only play in a swift 99% of the time in comms, and they are just super scummy. Like, they're the kind of group that would all get themselves injured at the end of the game because they all have adrenaline and a Gen 99. So they get injured just for the sake of it, or it's like, I'm looping the killer, wait till I get a hit, and in that split second, pop the Gen and I get adrenaline. And they all play on stretch res. And I just don't... Because for stretch res, for people that don't actually understand, it actually probably hurts more than helps killer. But what it does for Survivor...
It's mostly for survivors, yeah.
The easiest example of it, if you think about some of those hay bale loops on Coldwind, where the hay bales are about as high as the killer or just slightly higher, usually you can't really see over it. You can maybe guess, like, I think Plague might be one you can see quite clearly because of her whole crown. But a lot of the killers you can't see, so it's sort of guesswork. With stretch res, because of the angle, sort of like, instead of it being the angle it usually is, it's kind of sort of a bit more upright looking, more down. You can see over those loops and gain an advantage like that. Which doesn't sound like much, but it adds up very quickly on how long you can stall a killer at a loop.
Like, if any of you guys didn't know, I'm obviously a survivor main. That is,
Yeah.
like, how I've played the game for, like, my past 3K hours, all that kind of stuff. And if I'm saying that stretch res for survivors dumb, then that says something. Because, like, I'm not going to sit here and defend it and go, oh no, stretch res, it's fair. It's literally giving you an advantage of being able to see things you wouldn't normally be able to see. And I think that's a
like,
clear
I know there's
cheat.
always an argument, like, when you get, like, a sweaty killer, if it's in the game, you can use it. Like, where you get, say, you're, like, typical spirit with, like, Mother-Daughter Ring, Ruin Undying, Strider, like, that kind of stuff. Like, super scummy build, and they're probably a piece of shit for running it, but their argument, which, to be fair, is perfectly valid, if it's in the game, you can use it.
But
Stretch res is altering the game externally.
yeah, it's not in the game. You're literally altering it
Which
on your end.
a lot of people would define that as cheating.
Yeah, honestly, it is either cheating or it's cheesing it.
Both.
Like, another example I was going to give you. I don't know if you remember this, but way back, right? I'm going to take you way back.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I used to watch a streamer. His name is Dresnak, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was this one time where he got this streamer as his killer, and this dude had literally put this filter over his game that made it so all of the textures were just super saturated, and it was purely so people couldn't hide against him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think is dumb. I don't think people do it much anymore, but I remember it used to be a problem where, like, people would actually, like, put filters on their game when playing killer so that way immersed Claudettes couldn't hide against them and shit.
Yeah.
It's
I know some people have, like, say, lighting filters, which doesn't give them too much of like so much an advantage or disadvantage. It might be like because a lot of the maps are quite dark, like Macmillan, for example, can get quite dark. It's just to make the screen a bit brighter. Or say some of the indoor maps have dark areas. It's just to make it a bit brighter so it's easier to see.
Easier to look at.
That's one thing because that's not really gaining like the only advantage it's giving you is actually being able to see around a bit clearer. It's not giving you
you're not blind.
it's not giving you a competitive advantage. Or even like some people I know have actually found Coldwind a bit too bright, so they have a filter they could put on that makes the game slightly darker.
Yeah.
Which that doesn't give you like much of an advantage because it's not changing like the saturation or anything or making survivors stand out a bit more. It's purely just affecting the color code. Like if you really wanted to, you could invert the colors. Probably would it would look terrible. Might give you the slightest advantage, but it wouldn't do a whole lot for what you're doing. But then like increasing the saturation so you can find survivors easier when they hide, that's a whole other story.
I was actually going to bring up something with you about matchmaking because we were talking about it just before. It reminded me of this guy I came across in Paladins, right?
Yes.
He was a solo queuer in my game, and he was actually pretty chill. And he plugged his Twitch in the end of the game, so I went and I went and spoke to him, and that game we'd versed this 4-stack, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was these people that I'm pretty sure they 4-stack all the time, that kind of thing.
As most
and
people do.
Yeah, no, I remember talking to him about it, and he agrees the fact that he thinks that partying, especially in a game like Paladins where the matchmaking is so easily like fucked with, to put it brutally, he was saying that it ruins the game. Just flat out. He says that he doesn't like being in a party at like of 5 people or 4, Like I honestly think duo queuing is fine, but I don't think going
Maybe
above that.
trios.
Maybe. But I think 4 and 5 stacking is dumb.
If you're going to do that, add in-game voice. Well, I mean, there is already in-game voice, but try to prioritize it a bit more. Because then, like, the main issue with 5 stacks, I think the main direct one is that the majority of the time they're in comms with one another. So it's easy to call out, oh, there's so-and-so's flanking. Bang, turn around, 3 of them are killing them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an advantage.
The indirect advantage, which I don't think that you can really do much about, a, say, 4 or 5 stack is more likely to fill all the roles.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
Which
if you're not playing in a 5 stack,
like,
you're lucky to get all the roles
What
filled.
do you do to encourage that without taking the bullet yourself, or filling tank, filling heal, or whatever? Like, there's not much you can do about that. There's really not, unless you, like, say, have to queue as a certain role, which that's going to cause so many less people to play.
You'll be waiting for like 10 minutes if you queue for damage.
Yeah.
Just saying that now. That's what Overwatch is like. Did you know that?
I know that's what Overwatch is like, but when Paladins is already a smaller game than Overwatch, adding that to it...
It would kill the game, unfortunately. That's the
only fix, but if you prioritize voice chat more, it wouldn't matter if you're a team of solos up against a 5-stack, because everyone's got the same voice communication potential. Like, you can't do anything if you've got Little Billy doesn't have a mic.
Little Billy.
Like, you can't do a thing about that. That's just completely... Like, what's the devs going to do about that?
My only issue I'd see if you tried to push voice chatting more, I would simply just say crossplay. That would be a really big problem.
Not necessarily.
I
Only
think
if
it would
you add
be
push to talk.
No, I mean, like, as in people not being able to voice chat because they're on Switch or like a
Switch,
console
yes.
of some type.
Most consoles come with or have pretty accessible headsets.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the time, though, you got to remember some people just don't talk in games in general due to. I'll throw out an example. I choose not to talk in games because of the stereotype around abusing females for gaming.
Yeah.
That is a huge problem. So it's like, as much as I'd love to get involved and go, hey guys, let's, play the game, they're instantly going to downgrade me because a lot of the time If you're a female, you just get abused.
I'd like to think that people are better than that now. There are still so many scumbags that are
Yeah.
like very sexist and just feral. But I
Hmm.
like to think overall it's getting better.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it's not as bad as it used to be, but trust me, they're still really bad. Like I don't talk in any games that have voice chat. Like,
Yeah,
because I've just seen how bad it is, and it's just made me feel like, well, I'm just not gonna talk. If I have to say something, I'll just type it, kind of thing. It's just not
yeah,
worth it, in my opinion.
no,
And
100%.
it really is sad though, the fact that a lot of people like they can't freely talk in a game because they feel like they're just going to get abused and told off themselves and stuff just because of their gender. It really does suck.
It's it's feral.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like similar to the hate rates. It's a small minority feel good about putting down others,
Mhm.
and it's like if that's what's taking you to actually feel happy, then that's just really really sad for you.
Yeah, no, that is very sad, and they should reconsider
A
their
lot of
life
thing,
choices.
a lot
Yeah.
of things, yeah.
Yep.
And like
And
that's putting it nicely. Like if that's the way you're gonna play those kind of things, it's like why?
yeah, like one example of the like getting abused because you're a female thing. I remember when I hung out with Beck a lot, when she'd play Overwatch and tried to voice chat, I heard many stories about how people would
Oh,
tell
I've
her to
heard
like go
stories
back to
about
the
that as well. Yeah,
kitchen and like oh, just I can't say half of them, but
yeah,
very terrible things, and I felt so bad because it's like that's just terrible.
yeah. Like, and it's so pointless. And like the other thing is because you're behind a screen, people think they're all tough.
Oh yeah, no, people will say a lot more stuff than they usually would if they're behind a screen. It's just because,
20,
like, what are you gonna do?
2019, the DBD thugs
Oh,
would talk mad shit to everyone. Like
I
you
remember
kill them
those
in
guys.
game, or I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna bash you and all that stuff. Or at PAX, I'm gonna fight you and I'm gonna kick you to the ground and all that stuff.
They did go to
Okay,
PAX, didn't they?
they did go to PAX. They hung out in their own group, their like own little group of about 4 or 5 of them. Didn't come near anyone else,
Of course they didn't.
and like they threatened to bash half the people there. And it's like that. And a few people went up and said, "Oh, so and so, how's it going?" Blah blah, and they said, "Oh, hi." Like they were
I'm
very quiet and
surprised people
timid.
didn't call them out and go, "Hey, weren't you gonna bash me? Come on!" Like,
People probably did.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They're gonna talk big like that and then show up and basically put their tail between their legs.
Mm. Still on the
Nuts.
whiteboard where everyone like puts their own Twitch names in there, they still put DVD thugs. They
Yeah.
didn't approach anyone at all that they said they would, and they just put DVD thugs.
Mhm. That was so pathetic. That group of people.
Yeah,
I'm so glad we haven't had a group issue like that after that.
no.
Everyone's been like, you've obviously got your isolated cases of some people just being absolute twats, but I'm
And, like,
so glad that there
it's
hasn't
like
been like a group like that.
yeah, there's no groups. It's all like a few individuals, and like the only groups, quote unquote, would be like a group of friends, because it's
Yeah.
very much the mentality like, okay, let's say us two had a big issue with one another. Our close friends that really had nothing to do with the other would probably then, in like the mob mentality, oh yeah, so and so is a piece of shit, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Which
they
that's
take
what a lot of it
sides.
is. It's like I have an issue with one person, their whole friendship group hates me as a result.
Well, like, um, it's hard though. Like, if we're talking about just general friendships, like if you've heard that someone's like hurt your friend and that's been like a terrible person to them, it'd be really hard to like be unbiased about it and go, I don't want to judge them
Yeah,
and like,
absolutely.
you know, give them a fair chance. If I like ran into them, it'd be
Well,
like, wow, what a like, wow, how dare you be like that to my friend?
it's like one of the girls from school used to get along quite well with her. We had a lot of classes together because, particularly with maths, I've always been good at maths, so I was always in like the higher
Not
up
really.
maths classes. And because there was only so few of them, everyone doing it was more or less in like the same class.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was in a fair few classes with her because she was very much math sciencey, and her and I used to get along really well. But now, like, I don't talk to many people from school. Period. But even like
Me
at
either.
school, there was like maybe like year 9, year 10 onwards, she would barely talk to me because her best friend and I, we had things like going on and off. And this girl that was in all those maths classes with me was that best friend that this girl would vent to.
I see.
Yeah, so like as a result, I've done nothing to her, and like she's a lovely person. It's just because of the fact that her best friend and I had falling outs for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she doesn't like me as a result because she was that friend that she always went and vented to.
Yeah, which it sucks when you're like when you've done nothing to a person and they will hate you and be like, "Oh, you're such a terrible person." And it's like always about like you got to think about it with two ways, right? It's like
Yeah,
one, their friend could be telling the truth, or two, their friend could be exaggerating and making that person seem like a much worse person than they are.
well, it's like I've always been very much like keeping my own judgments and not getting involved with other people's drama. Like, um, like if you had an issue with someone and it'd be like, okay, that's your issue. It like between you two has nothing to do with me. I'm staying out of it. And the only time I really would get involved is if I get dragged into it and like I
Yeah,
can't get myself out. Very,
yeah,
very
exactly.
rarely would I actually get involved, and I think the only time I can think of is um falling out we've had with a particular individual.
Yeah,
But like not going
yeah.
into details of that, but that was really one of
Obviously
the
not.
only
Story
time.
for
Yeah,
another day.
but that was really probably the only time I can think of a friend's had an issue with someone and I've involved myself in it. Like there's been a couple of
Yeah.
times, including some unfortunately fairly recently, where like two mates of mine had issues, like a lot of issues with one another, and it's all like small groups just going head to head. And it's like I get along really well with both sides. It's their own issue, has absolutely nothing to do with me. I'm going to stay out of it until of the two key people. One of them decided to remove me from all social media, cut me off Steam, cut me off Twitter, everything like that, kicked me from their Discord. And I'm like, well, now you've forced me to pick sides because you've dragged me into it. And you're like,
That's not really dragging you
but you
into
get what
it.
I
It's just
mean.
kicking you out
In-
completely. Yeah.
Involving me in it. And it's like, okay, I see that. Like, fair enough.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I don't regret it ever since. But at the same time, it's like, I had no issues with anyone. Like, they had their own issues with one another, had nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing. But then they chose to involve me by cutting me off entirely.
Which isn't a way to deal with it. If they really
No.
thought you were a friend, they would have like spoken with you at least to go like tell you that they're uncomfortable or something like that. But even then, that a big lesson to learn here. You can't control who your friends are friends with.
No.
No matter like I could have like the worst relationship with someone, or like I could have had a falling out with someone. I do not expect Penguin to hate that person just
Yeah.
because me and him are good friends. I would never like ask someone to do that because
Yeah.
I just don't think it's right.
No. And you do get people
I
that are like, you back me, don't you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well,
back you
yep.
against what?
Yeah.
It's like you're
Um,
not going to war. You've
but
just had a
on
falling
that
out
on
with
that note
someone.
though, like you can have like say friends that stream or whatever. Like this is a pretty decent example, I think.
Mm.
You got friends that stream, but because of like who they surround themselves with, say with like mods and VIPs and like
Oh
regular
yeah, yeah, yeah.
viewers, you don't feel comfortable there. And it's like nothing against the streamer; they make terrific content, but because of just the key members of the community, you don't feel comfortable. And like,
Of course. Yeah.
there's a streamer in particular. I'm not going to say who they are. Um,
Spill. No, I'm kidding.
Speaking of which, But no, I absolutely like. I really enjoy hanging out in their streams, and I quite enjoy them a fair bit. Like, I think with everyone, there's elements I'm not fond of, but that's, let's be honest, that's everyone being picky. There's definitely like
Hmm.
regulars in my community that probably don't like half the shit I do, but at the same time, that doesn't take away from what I do overall. And it's the same with them. Like, there's a few things I don't agree with that they do, but it doesn't take away overall from what they do. The thing I have an issue with them is that I can't stand half their mods, whether it's my own, like, it's pretty much because of personal issues I've had with them in the past, which, like, if I go into a stream and out of, say, like, there are 8 mods, I have an issue with 1. And it's like, I can get by just having nothing to do with that one mod and still be a member of the community. But, like, these 2 mods in particular that I have a big issue with, and unfortunately they're the most frequent ones there, or just a bit, like 2 of the 3 most frequent. One of them I've known for a long time, who used to actually was a really terrible person to a lot of people. And I was one of them included. They're a bit better now, but they did so much back then. I don't really want to go and mend that bridge.
Yeah, which is
And
completely
the
fair.
other one is when I said I had to have a break from DBD because I started getting death threats and all that shit, and people like just pretty much bullying me about it. Um, they they were one of the contributors, and like one time I've gone in their stream and they've brought up something that happened in a past game, but very anonymously. Like, when I was playing Huntress for about the 3rd time, I got their sweaty 4-man survivor friends, and they went and bullied me the entire time because I was a new killer. Like, just insta heals, like old insta heals as well, insta heals, BMing, all that kind of fun stuff, all the GG eases afterwards, and just said, "Oh, you're a really shit killer. Get better at the game." Blah blah blah. I go into this streamer's chat where this individual's a mod, and they straight away go, "I love when doctor players play someone else, particularly killers that play differently, because they have no idea what they're doing and they're usually pretty shit." And, like, they haven't directed that directly at me, sure, but we both know who that's aimed at.
Yeah.
And, like, I've even told this streamer I can't hang out because I don't agree with half your mods. Like, I can't stand half of them. But, and which is a real shame because I enjoy watching their streams, but I can't support them because of who. Like, that's the thing. Your mods and VIPs represent you.
Yep, I completely agree. They represent your community, and they're basically the face of it. So it's like
Yeah,
who you mod and VIP, they show other people who are valued in your chat.
yeah,
And I completely agree with you about how some streams you can't go in because of who they keep around. Because I feel like I've had that issue as well with some people, like modding or VIPing people that I've never really gotten along with in the past, and I've known that they've been very problematic. And I think, okay, that's an interesting choice.
yeah. And, um, but like some of these other, like there's some other streams which aren't as bad, but still I still don't want to go in. Like, it's not people have had severe issues with, like, those people, but it'd be like just people that are just real like dickheads that I just don't want to be around, and it's like half their mod team or whatever. And it's like, okay, I'm just gonna steer away from that. But um and like there's a few people I've said like I love your streams and I don't want you to think that me not being there is because I don't like you or anything like that. I have issues with some of your mods or whatever, and I don't feel comfortable being around there. And like, I don't want to be the kind of guy that's like, unmod them so I show up. It's like, you clearly get along with them, and like, that's fine. Like, I don't want to go and say, this person you've got as a friend is a terrible person, blah, blah, blah. Like, mod who you want to mod, VIP who you want to VIP. But it's better for everyone involved if me as just a regular viewer just steps aside rather than having to like unmod someone to satisfy one viewer.
Yeah, I definitely think that it, again, having people mod in VIP, it does tie back to be friends with whoever. Like,
Yeah.
if you, like, obviously, no matter who you're friends with, someone in bloody Germany, or why do I keep going back to Germany? I don't know. But, like, someone in another country is going to be like, I don't like that person. Be friends with them. And it's just like,
But yeah, and like part of it as well,
no
like
one's, there's always going to be
representing
someone
your
unhappy.
community, like Empty, I'm gonna throw you under the bus here. And Empty will agree with this. There are definitely some people out there that are not a fan of Empty, which as a result, they're probably not going to hang out here because of the fact Empty's a mod. Does that mean they hate me? No. It's just they have their own issues, which as a result, they don't want to be here as a result. Which isn't anything bad, but in that situation, it's better to have that one viewer leave than me unmod Empty just for that one person's benefit. Because at the end of the day, there's probably people that say, don't like you, don't like whoever. And it's better off just losing that one viewer in each case than having to completely change your mods around for one person.
Yeah, you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you spend your whole life trying to please people, not to get too cheesy, you're not going to be happy, right? So it's like, at the end of the day, your mods, your VIPs, your choice. Easy. I love Empty. Empty's great.
Yeah. Oh, that's not me taking a dig at Empty at all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But yeah, only because he rocked up late, I'm going to throw him under the bus.
Just wanted to take this moment to just say I appreciate you, Empty. You're a good
Yes,
person.
absolutely.
Even if you abuse some people sometimes with your mod, we still love you.
But yeah, it's like, and
Ooh,
that's
okay.
just the reality of Twitch.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to talk about this topic.
Yes.
Social deception games.
Yes.
I personally, I have my experience with some
Yes.
social
Yes.
deception games, but I am with someone who is pretty much a master at them because he plays them a lot.
Too much.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you take the floor with what you wanted to talk about first, and I'll chip in.
I know particularly Diana, who loves, like, say, a game like Town of Salem. The issue with definitely Town of Salem because it has such a small viewer base on Twitch, but a lot of those other games, if you're playing them publicly, I want to stress publicly here. If you're playing it publicly, there's a very good chance someone's going to stream snipe you. And in those kind of games where you're trying to deceive other people and fit in and all that kind of stuff, if they know exactly what your like faction is and who your friends are, that just completely undermines the whole thing. And they, like Town of Salem, they might see I'm the mafia and they're they're a townie that can kill people. They're like, oh, you're the mafia and so are these three people. I'm going to kill all of them because I can. Because I know who they are, no questions asked. And so that's why, like, I barely stream those kind of games outside of a closed lobby because it's just a nightmare to try and do it publicly. But then, regardless if I'm streaming it or not, like, when I'm streaming those kind of games, unless I've been invited to something, like, say, Goose Goose Duck earlier in the week, which was just me getting invited to someone else's community night. If we're using the example, like last night, First Class Trouble, or a couple of times in the past, say, Among Us, it'll be with like other streamers so you can watch different perspectives and have a fun time. And at least that doesn't matter too much because the worst thing that would happen is someone goes and says, I went into so-and-so's chat and they're whatever. Which you take with a grain of salt anyway, but given who I tend to play with, they don't really have those kind of communities. But
yeah,
playing, I am very, very selective with who I play those games with. mainly for my own enjoyment. Like, I hate sounding cocky. I like to think myself as a modest person, which is definitely what a modest person would say. Um, but I am quite good at a lot of those games because with a lot of games, I pick up like game mechanics and how they work very quickly and can like come up really well with like strategies. Like I've always been good with strategy stuff, whether like strategy games, absolutely love them. So like I can sort of plan and think ahead and those kind of things really well, which is really good in those kind of games when you're an evil role because like let's say okay, I'm going to kill so and so over here, work my way around here and get so and so to vouch for me because I was with them for a long time, something like that. Um, but I also know how to utilize that and think like, okay, if I was the bad person here, what would I have done? And that's how I can a lot of the time figure out who it is by like how people have acted, where they've been, blah blah blah. The issue is because of these facts, I tend to get RDM'd a lot, which is just randomly killed because a lot of people basically are like, if we kill Penguin early, he A can't big brain us as an evil role and we can win that way, or he can't figure out that I'm a good person, like I'm a bad person. And like there's a difference between getting killed like that just purely to get you out of the game, like heavy targeted, and to like if I've walked into a room by myself with one of the bad guys that's completely out of the way and they go and kill me early, that's just a good kill. But like going out of your way to get me out, like first round, and there's like, oh, and then like, oh, Penguin got to a vote. Oh, that's pretty suspicious. He's probably the bad guy. And then no one trusts me again. Purely because I get to the first round, because like the first meeting, because I've been killed early that many times.
Yeah.
But then it gets to the situation because every now and then I do some big elaborate lie to win a game as the bad guy. And then if it gets to the late game again, evidence aside, if it's a case of I'm pretty sure it's this person because of whatever reason, and they have a say counter argument, which like let's just say it's not that strong, people will be like, or Penguin's a really good liar, it's probably Penguin. Let's just get Penguin out because we don't trust him. And that's why I'm very, very selective on who I play with. Because let's be honest, in those games, no one likes to die first every game and just basically play Ghost Simulator. Like, people actually want to play the game, have fun, which, if you're getting heavy targeted and dying first over and over, you're not getting that. Like, you've seen in the past some of the games I've streamed of it, where I've had to switch off within like half an hour because I'm like, I'm not enjoying this at all. I'm dying first or just getting completely metagamed. It's like Among Us. Oh, the lights went off early and someone killed. Penguin likes to do that. It's Penguin. And it's like, cool, I got voted out for that.
I definitely do not agree with metagaming in
No. Like, there's gonna be
in deception games.
There's
I don't
elements
think it's
where
valid.
you know how someone acts different. Like, if someone's acting differently than they normally would when they're a bad person, that's one thing. Because you're like, part of it is picking up on people's behaviors.
Mm.
But something like that, where you're using, that's a strategy that they sometimes use. It's definitely them. Especially when it's a common one.
Yeah, exactly. It's not fair on them,
Like,
and
but hey, like,
it's just not going to make
there's
them have a
always
good time.
there's always going to be an element of metagaming in those kind of games. But let's just use the example of Among Us. Let's just say let's use you as an example.
Oh no.
Let's just say when you're a crewmate, you focus your tasks, you do all the tasks really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you're an imposter, you're not faking any of your tasks, you're just running around aimlessly the whole game. That's a behavior change you can notice straight away.
Yeah.
And like, that's an element of metagaming, sure. But it's a bit different to saying, oh, the lights went off and someone died. That's so and so's mo. Kill them.
It's not like it's a sabotaging action that every
Yeah,
imposter can do.
yeah. But like that's
So,
just metagaming based off known behaviors, which everyone has an element of that. Like everyone has a tell. It's just
mm,
understanding people's tell.
yeah, and not just throwing them under the bus when they
You can
flow
have your own
shot
suspicions about
signs of
someone.
that.
Like that's fine. Like
Yeah.
if that light play happened and someone thought it was me as a result, I'm pretty suspicious of so and so because that's something they always do. It's like that's not enough to kill someone over, but you can't
Put them
not
as a suspect.
like and like you personally, if you suspect someone, then you're gonna suspect them regardless of whether it's metagaming or not. Like you
Yeah.
can't change that emotion about that.
Yeah. So with my experience with social deception games, I personally do not like social deception games.
No,
Or more, I'm not good at them. Because
mad because
I
bad.
yeah. I love watching people play. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Like, with social deception games, there's just something special about watching a group of people play, like, a group of friends especially, play the game because you feel like you're included
yeah,
on the whole experience
yeah.
of them all having fun and then, like, having, like, a great time. So, my problem with social deception games is I can't make up alibis to save my life, quite
Yeah,
literally. So, like, if I'm evil, then I just completely can't lie. I either hope that something, hope that something happens, and it'll like, it'll push the attention away from what someone just asked me,
yeah.
or just anything like that.
Like
And
I
it's
think
like,
a example was I think one time you and I got imposter in Among Us, and you did a couple of kills here and there, but people were suspicious of me, so they didn't even
yeah,
focus on you whatsoever, and I sort of took all the attention, and you just floated under the radar.
mm-hmm,
Um, but yeah, there's always that element, and like that's why I'm so selective with who I play with because there's a lot of people that are like, okay, Penguin's good, let's just always kill him first so that we better our own chances, or like in like Modded Among Us, or I say Modded Among Us, or like Goose Goose Duck, just because you've got more like say killing rolls, just
yeah,
randomly getting killed early just for the sake of getting me out, just because I could kill someone.
yeah, and so like I've played Town of Salem, for example, a lot, and I remember one experience I had was that I love to play all any when it came to Town of Salem
Yes.
because it was a lot more easy to get away with being evil because of
Yeah.
the fact that there were
There's
so
no.
many varied roles.
Yeah, I'm the same. Whenever I play Town of Salem, 99% of the time it is all any.
Yeah, and it's really fun to just like have so many like you could have like 4 serial killers in one game and it'd be
Yeah,
like, whoa, like so many like murders are happening. Um and like I remember one time when I was playing literally 3 games in a row, I just got completely massacred by a werewolf.
yeah.
Every time, like at the first time that the werewolf could kill, that night he'd always kill me. And I don't know how it kept happening, but I just felt cursed
Mm.
and I just didn't touch the game. It's
And I
been
mean,
like a
like,
year.
getting back to your like perspective where you don't like playing it so much, but you enjoy watching people and like joining in that way.
Yeah.
Talking to a lot of people like last night's First Class Trouble night and definitely last week's, people loved watching everyone's different perspectives and loved the like chemistry and vibe between everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And like the YouTube video I put together of everyone's perspectives, people absolutely loved that, and it's always good watching everyone's different perspectives and their own way of thinking. Like so and so killed um like one example was like last night at one stage. I think it was Goose, Lay and I were together and we immediately went and killed Jamie. And Jamie had absolutely no idea why we'd killed him. Because we just went to him, strangled him. And he's like, well, clearly they knew some way, because, like, the nature of who we all are. We're not just going to randomly kill someone like that. So it's like they
Yeah,
would have had a
exactly.
reason, blah blah blah, and that's where I think someone went into his chat and said they saw you pick up the syringe when they were on the other side of the water, so they knew it was you. And it's like,
Mm.
oh, okay, fair enough, blah blah blah, and like that element where like someone from his chat could see like, oh, they've just killed him for no reason, go into my stream or Lay's stream or whatever, and seeing like we're talking about, oh yeah, we saw him pick up the syringe, blah blah blah. So you get that element as well where you can see like everyone's different thinking.
That's one thing I really love about you guys like all playing together is the fact that a lot of the viewers that watch aren't snitches. So they
Yes,
won't just like
yes,
like as much as I've like been modding for you when you've been playing these type of social deception games, I have like pretty much never had to delete a message going this person's
yeah.
the
I
personoid
think
or this person's the imposter, blah blah
I
blah.
think what helps because like the first class trouble nights at least, I organise both of them. So I message everyone this time, blah blah blah, who's keen, blah blah blah, and we have a lot of overlapping communities, which helps a fair bit because it's like you're not gonna like if you like so and so, you're not gonna go and snitch and ruin their game.
Exactly.
It's like see if it was six different communities, like completely different,
Oh,
that's
that'd be
one thing.
chaos.
But
Yeah.
like, I think something that also helped a lot is we were clearly enjoying ourselves and just vibing and having a good time because we all get along really well with one another. Um, it just had that better like vibe with one another, which I think adds to the quality of the content. And like, sure, there's a bit
Yeah.
of mean killing here and there, but that's always going to happen in those games to an element.
Yeah, exactly. Um so I personally like I used to play a bit of Town of Salem, but that was when I could guarantee that I wouldn't have to like bluff a lot as well. But I remember I did try Among Us. I didn't just dismiss it without at least giving it a
You
go.
did play a little bit,
Yeah. And then
like
there was
5 hours.
those moments where
Don't talk
I
about it.
caught you I
Don't
caught
talk
you
about it.
twice killing someone. And I was just so distraught because I'm like, oh my god, I just witnessed murder.
But yeah, like I've played Town of Salem once in the last month,
Yeah, it's just
which was
because there's
actually
been so
to
many other social deception games,
yeah
though.
that too. But also a friend of mine hosting a Town of Salem tournament. They were a player short, and they asked if I could fill in for the day. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. And doing that, I remember why I hate ranked.
Oh, yeah.
But that was nothing to do with the tournament or anything like that, or the players. That's just the mechanics of a fixed like a fixed role list.
I just
Um,
wanted to say really quickly, if you guys haven't seen it, please go watch Penguin's video on First Class Trouble. That video is so well edited. It really did take him a bit of time, so it was really good. I really enjoyed it as someone who doesn't play it. It was so entertaining,
it
and
was entertaining to make because like one of the things in First Class Trouble, when someone dies, like when you're dead, you can talk to the other dead people. You can still hear what's going on with the player still alive, but you can still talk to one another. But naturally, as someone alive, you can't hear any of that because then it's easy. Oh, it's so and so. They killed me. They killed me, and you tell all the
yeah,
alive people.
obviously not. Yeah.
So this game on YouTube, I never heard what happened when people died because I was alive. Listening to the abuse hurled at one another from the dead people had me in tears editing it together. Like it was a lot of fun to watch. Like just watch all that everyone's perspective and just try and get it all together.
I was literally it was so funny to me because I actually didn't realize when I was watching that video. Spoilers, by the way. If you
Uh,
haven't seen it, go watch it. I'm about to spoil something that happened, so if you don't want spoilers, don't listen for a sec. But anyway, I remember when Nick got killed.
Yeah.
by Basic. I didn't realize it didn't click for me because I didn't realize he was the other bad guy.
Yeah.
And then when Basic died and he was just like, dude, you killed me, and I'm just like,
So
wait.
something with the game, you get points for like deduction points, deception points, progression, whatever. And so you get deduction as a innocent person, you get deduction points when you kill someone, but it's question marks because if you killed a bad guy, you get a fair bit of points. If you killed an innocent, you lose a fair bit. And whenever you kill someone as a personoid, which is the evil person, you get a decent amount of points for killing someone, which I think killing someone gives you 500. Basic for killing Nick, it wasn't in the video. Basic for killing Nick got negative 1,000.
God.
But the really,
Jesus.
like, that whole game was just one mistake after another. Because Basic took the syringe in the first area, which only the bad guys can do, in front of Red Eye.
Oh no.
Then Basic goes and kills his own teammate, then kills Kirsty, and then we all killed him. And then because it's Jamie, Red Eye, and myself, in Jamie and my minds, we're just like, well, it's not Red Eye, because why would she sell out her teammate, especially when it would have been a 2v2?
Yeah.
So Jamie and I are like, well, he wouldn't have killed, like, naturally the people who's killed are innocent, so in our eyes, it was the other. Which made complete sense given how hard we try to kill each other. And admittedly, in Red Eye's eyes, she's seen Basic do all the killing, no one's Basic, and then by deduction, was pretty much on the same wavelength. It had to be one of us. And then, because in First Class Trouble, you get the passenger logs, which give you one of 3 messages. They'll always list some players' names, and the messages will either be at least one of the following is a personoid, which will have 2 to 4 names, depending what stage of the game you're up to. Another one, which I think you only get at the end, or very rarely in the second area, is of the following, 1 is a resident, which is a good guy, 1 is a personoid bad guy, 2 names. And then the third one is that the following players are on the same faction. So either both personoids, both residents, and it'll have their names. In the last area, because Jamie and I were so certain that the other one was a bad person killing people, we're like to Red Eye, you pick up the log here because you're the only real confirmed one here. Keeping in mind at the end of the game, you need 2 good guys to get to the end to win. A single person won't win. It'll just tie. Red Eye goes and gets the log, and her log says both the following players are on the same faction, and it had Jamie and myself. But she read it as at least one of the following is a personoid. So instead of confirming us, she made us think even more we were both bad.
Oh,
and
God.
I ended up killing Jamie because, and that's another beauty of having everyone's perspectives. In my eyes, I've done the right thing because we know one's Basic. Red Eye's just confirmed that it's myself or Jamie, and I know it's not me, so I've killed Jamie. So in my eyes, I've killed the last one. And then I think Jamie's perspective when he died, he was just shaking his head grinning because he's like, okay, it was Penguin, well played. In all this, Red Eye chose to leave, which means she won individually. And because I was the last person standing and there wasn't 2 people to get to the end, it tied. And it was just a chaotic game because so many mistakes happened that we lost. And so did the personoids. The only person that won was Red Eye because she didn't trust either of us and just left. But like the beauty of that, like even with the edited perspectives, you can see everyone's thinking at the time. Because like Basic killed Nick because Basic thought the other bad guy was Jamie, not Nick. So in his eyes, he's killing an innocent.
Yeah.
In Nick's eyes, he is furious because of what Basic's doing, and then finds out it's because Basic got his partner wrong. And then you got Jamie and I were trying to kill each other because we're dead certain that the other was a bad guy. despite the fact both of us were innocent. So it's like that element is why
Uh,
I love doing those kind of lobbies with other streamers that are all live.
I'd never seen a chaotic game like that, like for a while. Just that much just going wrong. Just one thing after another.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so good.
Yeah, that's why, yeah, as Kirsty said, that's why he killed Nick. But there was also the element Basic wouldn't have done that if he was aware they were teammates.
Mm.
Like he said to Nick afterwards, he's like, I thought you were my yeah, he's like, that's why I killed you, because I thought it was Jamie. Like, as well as the comment, I thought it was Jamie, not you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just a chaotic night, and I don't think we'll get another first class lobby next week, unless really magic happens over the weekend. I would like to, like, if it was something we did every week, I'd be more than happy with that. But it's just getting everyone to be free.
Not
That's the
to
issue.
mention Poppy's like taking a bit of a break due to the fact that he
Yeah, but
just
on the
finished up his
same note, the
subathon.
same way, like the first time we did it last week, we had Red Eye and Nick, and then last night, instead of those two, we had Lay and Goose. Like, we could easily get 6 people, and it could be, okay, Jamie sits out this one, or whatever. Or like, I just, and it's not a bad thing having different interactions with different people. But even still, I don't know who would be free, what day would work.
Yeah.
Because at least the last two, I planned several days prior. Like the one we did last week, I probably was organising a week or two before we did it. The one we did last night, I was organising pretty much before last weekend, pretty much as soon as we finished the last lobby. I think we finished the last one last Tuesday. By Wednesday, I had everyone sorted out that for last night. So like a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I don't want to say it's not happening, but I think it's unlikely next week.
That's fair. It doesn't have to happen all the time. If
Yeah,
anything, it happening
but
a little bit less
I
makes it more fun.
know, yeah, I know Jamie definitely was saying like the ship. I don't know if you know that game.
Yes, I do know that
Yeah,
game.
having like maybe a few more, because you can have more than 6 people. Have us like do a night of that instead of First Class Travel or other games like that.
Mm.
I think it would be a lot of fun.
I don't know if any of you guys have seen, but watched I think it was Chilled Chaos. Used to watch him a lot on YouTube, and his group of friends and that would play that game, and it was so funny.
Yeah, I watched Achievement Hunter play it. So the ship,
Mm.
for people that don't know, to put it simply, you're on a cruise boat. There's a bunch of weapons around, and you've got a target which you need to go kill. And there's different money, so you get different points and money depending on how you kill them. So like, it might be for this round, the weapon that gives you the most money might be the baseball bat, but then the next round it's a sword or something like that. And the idea is you've got a target who you're trying to kill, but you're also someone else's target. So each round you've basically got to kill and not be killed.
Yeah,
But
it's
then there's
really
also
funny.
the element you've got to like keep your person like fed and hygiene and all that stuff. Like, it's like The Sims with like that
You
kind of
can
deception element, which I'm not even kidding when it comes to there's the Sims element.
Yeah, it's like you can literally die from stinking so bad.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And there's also the fact that you have to follow the rules on the ship.
Yeah,
Like if you
yeah,
pull out a weapon in front of a camera, you actually get sent to jail. To
yeah.
which there's like you can find shivs in jail, so if you're in there with someone else, you got to find a shiv really quickly, otherwise you're just gonna get killed.
So yeah, that would be a very fun game.
Yeah, for sure. If you got a right lobby together, it's very fun.
Yeah. Um, and like other games like that, I'd absolutely love to play.
Mm.
Um, But yeah, so I wouldn't complain if we could make those lobbies a weekly thing.
Yeah, even like a
But
different
yeah,
game each week.
yeah,
Like you could switch between
like
doing like
first
Goose
class
Goose
trouble, I
Duck.
absolutely love, and I think it helps. You could definitely notice last night, like it was the first time Leia had played, but she'd watched us play it the week before, so she still knew how the game works and everything. The
Mm.
week before, I was the only one. Like none of us had actually played any games,
Yeah.
but I was the only one that actually knew quite well how the game ran. They were all playing it pretty much not knowing much about it. So you could really
Mm.
notice the difference between last week and then last night. Goose had already played it before with other friends. Four of us had played it the week before, and Lay, despite not having played it herself, she'd watched enough the week before that she knew how it worked. So even though she
Yeah.
didn't know the game mechanics, like hadn't played them, she still knew them. The same way I learnt the game through watching other people before I actually played it myself. And I think the games overall, I think, were a bit smoother last night in that regard because people knew what they were doing a bit more, like knew more of the objectives, stuff like that. I think the only issue, I think there was one game we had, I think Kirsty and I both crashed.
Oh yeah,
But
I
aside
remember
from
that
that, we
game.
didn't really have any technical issues. I got personal at a shitload.
Oh, and I also loved how you were like complaining about how much you got the evil role, and you were like, "Oh my god,
It's
let
so
me get like innocent, whatever." And then the other the other day when you were playing Goose Goose Duck or whatever, you were just complaining so much about how, "Oh my god, I keep getting goose." It's just
I think
like,
the issue the other night was more so it was always just a normal goose. It wasn't
yeah,
anything fun.
it was a bland roll. But yeah, I just found it funny either way. Oh, it
Um,
was so good.
but yeah, like I definitely want to do those nights, and like the more I can steer away from DVD each week, the better.
Yeah, I feel like it's really you've made a really good transition from going from because you're still playing it. You're
Yeah.
not. It's not like you don't play it at all. You're still playing it every once in a while, but you're not
Well, I
completely
mean,
like ripping yourself away from DVD, so that your viewers who usually like DVD are like, "Oh my god, what's happening?"
yeah, and like I think my schedule this week, I didn't have tonight
Yeah.
listed because this won't take up the whole stream for tonight, so I'll probably switch to it afterwards or whatever. But the only night I was meant to do DVD all week was Monday, which didn't happen because that whole jumping into Goose Goose Duck and the Ghost Hunters that never went ahead, that was all last minute.
Yeah.
And definitely with the matchmaking coming up, I'm probably not going to be playing too much DVD. I'll still play a bit, but it might be, say, less streams and maybe more likely to be a few YouTube videos here and there.
Yeah, I think DVD is going to be a bit of a roller coaster. I'm only going to play it because I didn't get to play much of the
Yeah,
MMR system when it was
because I know
PTB'd.
there's some people that
So,
said they didn't notice much of a change, which is good with them, but I think part of the issue is OCE just being so small. Because like the
yeah.
changes I noticed when I played it, and it could be a bit different. I don't know. When I was playing Survivor, my teammates were much worse than they were prior, but I was getting the same kill as I usually would.
Oh, yeah, no, me
And
too.
then when I was playing Killer, I'd be getting the same survivors I usually would, but the queue times were much longer. Like at night, instead of getting lobbies in like 30 seconds, it'd be like 5 to 10 minutes each time.
Yeah, like I remember when I played, I would no joke get fresh installs on my team. I'm not doing saying that to like call them bad. I'm literally saying that
They
because
had
they
like 5
literally didn't
hours.
know. They didn't know how to play. Like the one survivor in my game died to a pig head trap because he didn't know how to get it off.
Yeah.
It was like that's how new they were, and it's like how am I getting matched up with these survivors but then also just getting the same killers? It just didn't make sense to me.
Is there anything else you wanted to go over before we wrap it up? Because we're not too far off 2 hours,
Yeah,
which
we
went
only got
really
really
quick.
5 minutes. Yeah,
That went
I didn't
really
even
quick.
realize. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when you and I start chatting.
Yep. Um. Not really too much else. There was one other topic about a certain YouTuber that got into some trouble, which I don't know if you guys know them, but their name's Marcus Dibble.
Yeah.
This YouTuber, he actually got outed last month. It became public that he'd apparently been fighting in court about the fact that they were grooming a 13-year-old. I did as well, Lay.
Yeah,
I
he's like the only videos I watch, maybe the occasional one that popped up here and there. You would see like it pop on Facebook, like him taking the piss out or whatever. But like the saddest thing about all this, and like it just shows how fake a lot of people on social media and content creation can be. Some of his most popular videos was him absolutely tearing apart people that have done the same thing he's been done for.
Yeah, literally one of his quotes that he used to say was like, "Oh yeah, age is just a number and jail's just a room." And it's just like, it's just so hypocritical. And I do agree, Chaya. It's like it seems to be happening so much recently.
A lot more's coming
Like
to light because I think
it's actually
when a
scary.
lot of this has happened, there was no like nothing to go off like coming forward about it because no one had really ever come forward about this ever. But as more and more people, mainly women, sadly, come forward about it, um, like come forward with their own stories about them, like whatever experience, like whether it's like sexual abuse, grooming, whatever it is with whatever person.
Yeah.
Because more and more people are doing that. There's more like a what's the word? Like it's easier for others to then come forward about, even if it's not the same person, because I'm saying women because the majority of the cases is the women, like the
Male.
woman being the victim.
Yeah, male YouTubers doing it.
That's not to say there are male victims, but
Oh
the
yeah, no, of
majority are
course.
definitely women. But it's like the more people come out about it, the more it encourages other people to come out about it, even if it's not about anyone that's already been exposed.
It's just it makes me sad because a lot of these YouTubers that are getting called out for it were literally like my childhood or like my teenage
I
years watching
reckon
YouTube.
I reckon one of the hardest hit for so many people was Ryan Haywood.
I know for me, like Cryotic got outed for grooming. Mini Lad got outed for grooming.
Mini Lad was a sad one as well because I quite liked his content.
Yeah, no, I really liked his content as well, and it was just like, yep, it's just over. But yeah, with Marcus Dibble, let me quickly read.
Because yeah, you said you had an article or whatever that said a lot of the scary
Yeah,
stuff about it.
so apparently he appeared in the Melbourne court about it, where he was given an 18-month community-based order, which I think that's just community service, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes.
Which is pretty insane that he got away with grooming over like he only got community service for it. I honestly would have
But
thought he.
I don't know. Like he um is guilty of it. Like that's pretty much what the courts have been saying. But you also don't know the extent of a lot of it, like the actual finer details.
Oh, wait. So apparently he got given 18-month community-based order for possessing, producing, and distributing child abuse material
Okay.
between 2019 and then 2020. And then he only recently admitted to grooming a victim, which was between 13 and 15.
Because like all the details aren't clear. So like this, like I'm not saying he's innocent by any stretch of the imagination, but there's still a lot of details that are still pretty murky and not been public, like made public yet. So there still is a lot of speculation on what a lot of it is. But yeah, it does not look good for him at all. And yeah, especially when
Oh
a lot
my
of his
God.
content was based around him calling out other people for doing that.
Yeah, no, and I've just read further into the article of some stuff I didn't read before, but apparently in May 2020, that was when he booked the accommodation to try and lure the young the younger like woman to his Airbnb.
Yeah, people are.
And then the investigators raided his home and they found steroids and the child abuse material.
That's
And
messed up.
yeah, no, and apparently Dibble he had moved to Queensland to start a new life but lost his job after his court case was reported. And then they fined him 5 grand for possessing the steroids and registered him as a sex offender for the next 15 years.
Why is it only for 15 years and not life?
I I don't know. I honestly feel like if you do have something like that in your under your name, you should have it for life. And then he's also ordered to perform 150 hours of unpaid community work. Like
All,
I didn't see that part
all
of
things
him.
considered, unless something changes between now and the future, he's gotten off lightly.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised there was no jail time involved,
Yeah,
honestly. I feel like there should have been some type of jail involved, especially since it was not only grooming a young girl, but also having uh child abuse material, which I'm not really sure what that means, and I don't think I want to
no,
know what that could mean.
absolutely not.
Yeah, I honestly feel like that was a very light punishment for
All
what he
things
did.
considered, absolutely it was.
Yeah, that overall that was really fucked up what he did. And the shitty thing to me about it was the fact that apparently he made a video a year ago talking about the fact he was wrapped up in some court case. He didn't specify what it was, and he begged his viewers to help him pay for it. And now that they know what it was for, because it was for this, it was for the
Yeah,
fact that he got caught with child abuse material and grooming a young girl, and it's like, and his fans gave him 22 grand
yeah.
in money.
And I mean, like
And if they knew what it was for, they wouldn't have given him a
like
cent.
the big one for me was Ryan Haywood, which is one of the guys from Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter, because he was
Mm,
found out to do like that stuff, basically cheating on his wife. Like he has kids as well, um,
yeah.
and getting with fans and a lot of them younger. And that one was big for me because I'd grown up watching a lot of Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter and enjoying their content. But at the same time, I can still like disassociate what happened behind the scenes with him to the content he produced. Like I can still enjoy the older content that has him in it because it is good content. I can like remove the creator from the content.
Yeah. Which is something not a lot of people can do.
Mm. But yeah, it's just real nutty because he was one that everyone really loved,
Yeah, he really was.
and
I
that
personally didn't watch that content when I was growing up, but
yeah,
I, as someone who's had a content creator turn out to be very just like crappy,
yeah.
it sucks. Like the whole situation with uh what was the name? Um the guy that recently came back from not streaming because he got outed for apparently
I don't
grooming an underage girl.
I
Who
don't
was it
know.
again?
I don't know.
Hold up. Call me Carson. That's it. Call me Carson. Do you know him?
No, I do not.
So apparently he got called out for, I don't know your opinion on this, but he got called out for apparently grooming a younger girl when the age gap was 17 and he was 19. I think they started dating when he was 18
Uh,
and then he recently turned 19.
uh
So basically he got cancelled for that. And then months later, taking a break from social media, he actually recently came back. And then he said that he was going to donate like his earnings for like the next 12 months to different charities. And then also he came back on the day of the hate raid break. So he started streaming on that day, and apparently a lot of people gave him shit for it, saying that he
yeah,
shouldn't have streamed on that day, even though I don't even think he realized it was happening because of the fact he took a break.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't really. It'd be hard for you to give an opinion on it because obviously
Yeah,
you
I
don't really
don't
know too
know it.
much about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, it was pretty messy situation.
Well, that's bang on taking out the 5 minutes at the start. That's bang on 2 hours.
Yeah,
So
yes, it is.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was really fun. We got a lot of topics in.
Yeah, definitely
A
a lot more
lot of
than last
topics.
time,
Yes, yes,
which
yes, we
means we
did.
definitely stretched out the last podcast.
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't. You had no idea about the day off Twitch. Yeah, it was.
it was more of a Twitter thing, if anything.
Yeah. So if you don't really go on Twitter, you wouldn't have known about it. Which I don't blame you if you don't go on Twitter. Twitter's a very like
Toxic
hit or
play.
miss. Yeah, it's one of the more toxic places. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
it's more toxic than Reddit is, to be honest.
I don't go on Reddit at all. It's never been my
Yeah,
thing.
that's
But
fair
no,
enough.
that was good.
Yeah, yeah, it was very
So
fun.
another one in 2 weeks' time,
Yes, and
which
then
will
the
probably one of the topics is probably going to be how bad MMR is
we're gonna
after
give you a
playing it for two and a
status
half
update.
weeks.
Gonna be like, so I've uninstalled DVD. Yep, go on.
I don't know. We
Yeah,
we can be hopeful, but I'm not.
listen, from what experiences I've had of MMR, it's not gonna
No,
it's not gonna work
no, no,
out.
no. It won't. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was good fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and
Yeah,
yeah, I will talk to you later.
yeah. No worries.
Bye.
Bye.